My name is Freeze.
My name's Forrest Gump.
My name is Happy Gilmore.
Bond. James Bond.
Names are pretty weird if you think about it. You didn't get to pick your name. You had no real choice in it.
Okay, and in the blue corner is Crusher Chris. Come on!
But what I've learned over the years, reading books like How to Win Friends and Influence People, is that people are obsessed with their name. If you remember somebody's name after meeting them and then seeing them later, you can see it in their eyes. They're really impressed. Also, if your name's ever been in anything, like the newspaper or something like that, I'm sure your mom cut it out, put it on the fridge. A few years back, before I did filmmaking full time, my name was actually featured in a New York Times bestseller. I helped research for it. It's at the very end. It's in the acknowledgements. Look at that, so beautiful. But I'm sure you have similar stories about your own name.
Now, say my name.
When it comes to story, characters all have specific names, and usually those aren't by accident. Usually the writers and the authors and the folks that pick those names do it intentionally. I know names are really important to character development, especially somebody that ultimately starts to live into their name. When you think about it in your own life, you have a name, you have nicknames, and you're constantly naming things around you, like your pets, your fish, all that stuff. I don't think that's an accident. I think it is important for our lives as well.
Oh, how cute. What's his name?
Ben.
Carlos.
So, is a name that important? Does it have that much meaning attached to it? Will you be accepted or rejected based on your name?
I'm Ron Burgundy?
All in all, I think names are pretty important. But I think what's cool is you can kind of redefine what your name means for other people around you. Or you can change your name completely and mix it up.
What's your name, kid?
The human spider.
Hey, check out the podium. Look at this.
Mr. Reynolds has apparently changed his name to Turd Ferguson.
Yeah, that's right.
For example, when I was in 5th grade, I had AIM hit me up. My AIM name was Daredevil 8611. Now, I had never read the comics or seen any of the movies about Daredevil. The reason I picked that name is because I thought I was a daredevil. But everybody would always ask me, like, oh, you must be a huge Marvel fan. And that wasn't the case.
You a big William Hung fan?
Why does everybody ask me that? Who the hell is that?
A name is also kind of a sign of ownership. We tend to put our names on things that we own or that belong to us. And I think that's pretty interesting too. Names can give purpose to a character or give them something to live into. And we see this in a lot of different stories.
Harry Potter, the boy who lived.
Names can strike fear into people.
Voldemort, Voldemort.
Voldemort. Voldemort.
Voldemort.
Voldemort.
Don't use that name.
Or they can offer a quick laugh.
My name is Jeff.
Hey, Jefe, man.
So the big question, does the character make the name or does the name make the character? There's a debate about this in the business world even.
It's not just the system, Dick. It's the name. That glorious name, McDonald's. It could be anything you want it to be.
I mean, there's even a brand of jeans called Acne. And the brand is awesome. I have a pair of them and they're great jeans. But it's funny because they took a word like acne and they kind of redefined what it meant. Now it means cool jeans, which is weird. And honestly, in our culture, we have our own association with what names mean and they can kind of shift and bend depending on where we're at. I do not envy somebody that was born with the name Karen or Jerry in the past 5 years. Now let's not forget about nicknames. Super important, I think, in our own lives and in narrative.
My friends call me Andy, radical.
We're government agents now. We should have secret code names.
I want to be called Mystique.
Damn, I wanted to be called Mystique.
Some of you guys that may have kind of weird names, don't fret. You can always use a nickname to define who you are, even if you have to give yourself that nickname.
Heisenberg. You're goddamn right.
My hope always is to kind of apply this stuff and think about it in my own life. When it comes to naming stuff, like I'm constantly naming different things when it comes to my business or the titles of my film or characters that I develop. So I think it's really important to think through it, right? If you're starting a business that's a flower shop, think about it. What do you want to name it? What do you want it to be about? What do you want to define it? What do you want others to view it as?
I got worms.
I beg your pardon?
That's what we're gonna call it. I got worms. We're gonna specialize in selling worm farms.
Or another thing to think about, what is your name? Look up the meaning of your name. It's really interesting when you take a look at what your name means and you try to live into it. It's pretty wild to think about that a boy in Indiana has the name he has because of a Jewish guy that walked around 2,000 years ago and did some cool stuff. So next time you name something, whether it be your baby, your dog, your fish, your business, think through it. Be intentional with it. I think there's something cool about naming something and being intentional with that name. And I think it offers meaning, and I think it's important.
My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
I'm gonna keep pumping out more story-based content like this. If you guys like it, join along for the ride. Hit the subscribe button, the like, all that stuff. Appreciate y'all.
I'm Chris Neal, and this concludes my presentation.